Hello, ShakeTube. So we are here this week to talk about Antony and Cleopatra. Um, so this play I actually read a couple weeks ago, and I didn't really have strong feelings about it. I guess I didn't care for it much. Um, I thought Cleopatra might be kind of interesting. I was a bit puzzled at why Harold Bloom seems to be so passionate about the play because I had a hard time seeing what was so great about it, I guess. Um, but this week, in preparation for this video, I decided to watch a production of it with Janet Suzman, and it's right on YouTube. I'll leave a link to it. And it also has Patrick Stewart as Enobarbus, and uh, and that really changed my perspective on the play. I really enjoyed that production, and Janet Suzman does such a good job of making Cleopatra this very funny, witty character, but at the same time tapping into Cleopatra's spitefulness and how she's kind of this huge drama queen. And would be kind of irritating to meet in real life, but as a character in a play is very fun to watch and very interesting, I think. Um, and then there's Antony, who it's interesting to see him kind of, Harold Bloom and the introduction in My Riverside Shakespeare talk about this dichotomy between Egypt and Rome, with Egypt being kind of representative of hedonism and pleasure, and Rome as representative of duty and kind of masculinity and militarism and honor, and Octavius sort of representing the Roman austerity, and Cleopatra and maybe Enobarbus too representing kind of Egyptian hedonism. And I feel like, and Antony, you can see him like at one point he tries to be a good Roman and goes and meets with the triumvirate, marries Octavia and all this stuff. But then once the other members of the triumvirate spurn him, he just kind of says, "Okay, well, screw it. I'm just gonna go back and live with my love." Because clearly these guys don't care to treat me fairly. And anyway, and so he goes back and tries to kind of establish his own kingdom with Cleopatra, and live with her because he loves her. But then you can see him kind of getting fed up with her. She, for whatever reason, decides to retreat from a sea battle when they could have won. And I think throughout this play you do kind of see the ups and downs of both of these worldviews, of this very austere Roman worldview and the more hedonistic Egyptian worldview. And I think it was played out a lot actually in Enobarbus, because he's kind of this jolly guy who drinks a lot. The way he's played by Patrick Stewart, he's like always kind of smirking and making these jokes, and he doesn't take anything very seriously, and he seems to just kind of always be having a good time. I think that's kind of the upside of the hedonism part a bit. But then at the end of the play, near the end of the play, that is, Enobarbus sees that Antony is losing the war with Octavius, and so decides, for the sake of self-preservation, that he will go and join Octavius, which rationally would be the best thing to do, because it's clear that by that point that Antony's going to lose. And so it is, in terms of just rationality, if the sort of Roman worldview would say that is the best thing to do, possibly. But although not necessarily, because the Roman worldview kind of probably prizes loyalty, so maybe not. But in terms of self-preservation, it is kind of the rational thing. But you can see how that ends for him. He's so torn up about guilt over what he's done, especially since when Antony hears about it, he doesn't blame him. Antony hears about it, and he has all of Enobarbus's possessions and his money sent to Enobarbus. And Enobarbus just has a hard time dealing with this. So, and you also kind of see Octavius, who is the epitome of this Roman worldview, and is just the most wooden character ever. You would never want to meet him in real life. He's every straight A student who just takes everything far too seriously. Not that there's anything wrong with being a straight A student, just I'm talking about those students who take every single thing so seriously and can't take a moment to just have a joke or something or have fun. And so you kind of see that in him, and so you see Antony pulled between these two, and I thought that was interesting. But really, the great joy of the play for me was just Cleopatra and how funny she is, and um, how dramatic she is. Her final scenes with Antony, from when Antony dies to the end of the play when she commits suicide, I think that whole sequence is just stunning. The poetry in it is some of Shakespeare's best. As Janet Sussman really moved me with her performance when Antony was dying. And I think that scene at the end where the commoner brings Cleopatra the uh the worms to kill herself is very funny. Kind of a weird random insertion almost, which seems almost out of place, but at the same time, um, seemed like it was pregnant with a lot of double meanings again. So I don't know. I am intrigued with this play. I will give it that. Um, like Hamlet, I don't feel like a lot of my thoughts are very concrete or coherent. Um, for a different reason than Hamlet. Hamlet is just so thematically full of multitudes. But Antony and Cleopatra is hard to pin down because there are so many characters. In Hamlet, there's Hamlet, and there's Hamlet, and then Ophelia and Gertrude and Claudius maybe a little bit. Horatio is very flat and wooden. But in Antony and Cleopatra, you have a lot of characters who are at least moderately fleshed out. I mean, you have obviously Antony and Cleopatra, Octavius, Enobarbus. You have some of Cleopatra's maids and her eunuchs, and even the messengers are given a little bit of personality. These unnamed messengers. So there's just a lot of personalities in this play. Which must make it a bitch to cast, because you would need a big cast full of talented actors. But yeah, so maybe not my favorite, but I am intrigued with this play. I'm looking forward to rereading it and reading more about it and listening to what people on ShakeTube have to say. So yeah. Anyway, that is what I have. Next week is our last week. We're doing The Tempest. Which I think I will try to reread I read it a few weeks back. I'm gonna reread it before Friday, or at least watch a production. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, I can't believe ShakeTube is coming to an end. I mean, so much of the time that I have been on BookTube, ShakeTube has been going on, so it's gonna feel kind of strange to come out the other side and live in a post ShakeTube BookTube world. But it might be nice. I'm kind of looking forward to being able to have a bit more variety on my channel. So in a sense, I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Bye.